Let's talk about you. Let's talk about The Other Side, which is phenomenal, by the way. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
I listened to it from beginning to end and then listened to it again. And actually I listened to it a third time today. And it's for me personally, it's like an emotional roller coaster. And I love, my wife gets mad at me because she's like, do you like being sad? Like why are all the songs that you like sad? And I was like, I don't think it's being sad. I like feeling. And every time I listen to your music, I truly physically feel something. So thank you for that.
That makes me so happy because when I write, I go by a physical feeling in my stomach. Like I am like, I gotta feel it to be able to write it because it's hard for me to write. Like it's not easy. So I have to really want to do it. And I have done my job if you're feeling something. So thanks for telling me that.
1000%. So it's been 5 years though since the last album, and I wonder as I'm listening to these songs, are these songs that you've held on to that you've had for the past 5 years, or are these songs that you've done, you know, I don't know, within the past year or so that you've put, or maybe a mix of both on the album?
I had what I thought was a finished album, which is probably like 70% of this album, around 3 years ago when I put out Diane. And then I had a label switch. I left my label and took the songs, but then I had this moment of like, first you're like, I want it to be now. And then I can do this with grace. There's gotta be more songs and material. And I'm glad I kept that door open because that's when I wrote Classic with Jack Antonoff, who just did the Chicks and Taylor Swift. And then I heard these incredible demos of songs written by my musical pals and neighbors, Harry Styles and Sam Smith, and brought those songs in and made them my own too. So and then the Natalie Hemby one, the Girl Like Me at the very end, that was one of the last ones to make it on too. So, you know, like most of life where you think you've got it and then something derails you and you think it's a big problem. And then in the end, it was how it was supposed to go.
Well, again, it's a great album. And you touched on a lot of the things that I want to get to. And I want to go back to Diane for a second because, and I might get in total trouble for saying this, but there's something wrong with radio that song was not a smash hit because it's such a phenomenal song. And it's such a great, you know, look at relationships and, you know, obviously the meaning behind it and whatnot. So I don't know what happened. It's a huge miss on radio's part. I love it. It's a great song.
You know, it got its full due over in the UK and in Australia, and it was amazing. And I'm saying this to you not just because we're talking like on the radio, but I don't think radio was to blame for that song. I think the other stuff with the label switch was more to blame for that. So I won't fault them. I want to think if they had had a chance, they would have come through because a lot of people still really talk to me so much about how they love that song.
It's so good. It's in the video is fantastic. Just all of it's really good. Speaking of videos and visuals for The Other Side, you do have like this sort of unique visual aspect that goes along with the album that I took a look at earlier today. But I want to talk about the music videos too, because Till There's Nothing Left is this really cool, I don't even know what to call what you're wearing, but it's like a glittery sequin thing.
Gucci. Yeah, it was a Gucci like chainmail sequin. And it was so funny because I was 8 months pregnant in that video. So like this hip shirt is like stretched out of my huge belly, but you couldn't see it. It was cut in the thing. And that was like this end of the world apocalyptic honky tonk party video, which then literally 2 weeks later, we had the tornado come through Nashville.
Yeah.
And then this song, it's amazing. Like so many people love Till There's Nothing Left. And it keeps, I think it's second to Burning House in terms of streams. Like people love this song. But then it felt super prophetic with like the world kind of feeling like it's ending this year.
Yeah.
And like people were using it on like TikTok and stuff when they were showing the toilet paper not on the shelves. Like it took on a lot of different meanings. But yeah, I'm so proud of that song. It was such a fun jam.
And then the flip side to that is Classic, which is just really cool, like upbeat fun. And the music video, you're in like costume changes and dancing around and moving around all through. Is that Dolly's bar in Nashville that you're at in that video? Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's that one it's Dolly themed. It's on top of The Graduate. It's called White Limousine. And it's, super cute and pink. And I'll tell you what, filming a video during a pandemic is not a task for the faint of heart. We had a whole other concept. We had different locations. So many things were falling through. The director got COVID. We had to move to a new guy. And like, finally, by the time we got there, it was like 12:30 in the morning and we were going to film until 4:30. And you would think everyone would just be so worn out. But I think also everybody was so happy to just have a chance to work that, you know, behind everyone's mask, you know, you can see people smiling with
the eyes
behind their mask. Like everyone was just like, yay, we're doing it. So it was fun once it happened. But yeah, it is no joke. I think there's a lot of shifting that's happening right now for people to try and, like, you're doing stuff from home. You know, I think those videos are going to have to shift, figure out a way to do it around this.
Yeah, we're in my closet right now, my master bedroom closet. I never thought that I would ever be doing this right now, but you're right. You adapt, right? And you make it work.
Yeah.
I want to talk about my favorite song on the album. And again, we're talking about The Other Side. It's called Forgetting You. And I literally, I want to show you my notes really quick. I don't know if you can see this or not. It says, holy shit. Because, you know, I'm listening to the album and I've got my 2-year-old sitting next to me and he's kind of, you know, he distracts me here and there as I'm listening to it. And you know, you kind of multitask and the song's on and I don't know, maybe 30 seconds in, I stopped what I was doing. And I said, holy shit. And I went back and started it over again. The lyrics, your vocals, it's unbelievable. Cam, can you tell me about that song specifically and writing that song?
That makes me so happy. I feel like this is the most me, everything's me, but this is like the most me song on the record. Like I was going in with Lauren McKenna and Ty and Mitch, and I didn't want to, you know, embarrass myself. So I was sitting there the morning of playing my guitar on the bed, and that person, this happens to me all the time. You hold on to these ideas of people from before, and it's not healthy, and they're an idea. They're not even a real person anymore, but they creep back in when you're alone. And the way that when you go to sit on a hotel bed and they told you it was a non-smoking room, and then the smoke kind of comes into your nostrils. I like it. So that swingy, waltzy thing is me. I only have one way of playing guitar. So if you ever hear that, that's definitely me. And I feel like that song, for some reason, hits people that love music. And that song is the reason Tyler showed that to Harry Styles, and he loved that song, and that started this, you know, me opening for him, and then eventually singing a song that he wrote. And then also Sam heard that song, Smith, and that's why I got to end up writing with Sam and writing for him and singing one of his. So it's just, I feel like really singing one of theirs, I should say. It's like I feel like it's my card that's like, I'm a real artist, you know, like that's the one that I show for that song.
It's a great song. I wonder, I don't know, you can tell me if I'm overstepping boundaries here, but I've always wondered this, as someone who is a songwriter, and you really do put like everything out there. And so your husband, Adam, obviously listens to the album. And when he listens to a song like that,
half the time he's giving me ideas.
I just wonder from his perspective, if he's listening to a song like that, and I wrote down one of the lines near the end, he doesn't know, he's just laying there sleeping. It's me and my demons and you rising up like smoke. Phenomenal. But I wonder if that was my wife, I'd be like, great song, babe. Do we need to talk about something? Right.
No, you know what? He always does such a good job of appreciating it as art.
Right.
It never, even though there's always some honesty and truth to whatever it is that I'm singing, like it's never like a verbatim, like, you know what I mean? Like it's never like that kind of story. So, and he never, he's a great partner to have when you're in art, because I see what you're saying, and that could be like a weird thing, but like you have to make art that has a you and an other and lovers and people that you hate. And if you're busy projecting yourself into all those situations for someone trying to make art, that would be exhausting. I don't think we would be together if he was that type of person. So instead, he's the person where I show it to him, and he listens to every mix, like 99 different versions of it. and he's incredibly honest, and like he has a gut reaction too, and he's a great partner to have around for all of this.
It's got to be therapy too. Like, I mean, for the both of you, because you're getting these thoughts and emotions, you know, out, as opposed to what a lot of people probably do, which is like hold them inside and not talk about, you know, things like that and emotions that you feel. So it's got to be.
And then he's like a movie, for example, that was, I asked him, I said, how'd you know it was me when we met? Why didn't you wait for someone else or settle earlier? And he said, because when I met you, it was like a movie. And I can remember when we met, it was in this dingy apartment. It was definitely not like a movie, but he just like, you know, he loves me. And it just was so real when he said it. And I just was like, I got to put that in. Went in with the Love Junkies like the next day, and they're so pro. Like we like chit chat over coffee, write a hit song, and then let's have lunch, you know. And it was so special. We got to go in. The strings on that track are just so beautiful. And this was David Campbell, who's actually Beck's dad, but he's like this famous composer, arranger, and he'd done things for movies and, you know, famous records. And we went into Capitol Studios there in LA, where they did all like the old Frank Sinatra strings. And I was like, we need something that is like this romantic, you know, 50s, 60s soundtrack. This was, and Jeff Basker and Tyler, who were producing this track, like this was Jeff's idea, and we were all like kind of honing in on it. And David just came in and knocked it out of the park. Like that moment in that bridge is just like, oh, and so strings, good. By the way, are so expensive. So if you mess up what you want in a string session, you're done. Oh. There's no coming back from that. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised at how beautiful that sounded like first thing. It was amazing.
I want to talk about something that I saw on, I think it's People magazine. It says, I mean, the truth is that country is made up to sell records, something that happened back in the 30s you were talking about. So with that in mind, and you were talking about working with Sam Smith and Harry Styles, and of course, you know, Avicii, who unfortunately, you know, no longer with us, but those are artists who are more in the pop genre. And I wonder what you would have to say to those diehard country fans out there who are, you know, against bro country and stuff. What would you tell them about Harry Styles, Sam Smith, Avicii that they probably don't know or haven't wanted to know until now?
Well, I feel like if you show up with a song that resonates, doesn't matter if you say you're hardcore country or hardcore anti-country, it hits you and it opens you up. And that ability to open up and go into that space and sing that song and those words that we all needed to hear, that comes from someone who is dedicated to figuring themselves out, living authentically, and not putting other people's comfort ahead of you being real and truthful. And that holds true for whatever kind of fan you are. And that is definitely Tim Avicii was like, I had to leave the room for a cigarette break because he was so intense, and I don't smoke cigarettes. He was so specific and wanted like the phonetics of it. It was just incredible. And same thing like with Harry. I mean, who wants to acknowledge that they've outgrown where they're from? Nobody wants to say, I mean, maybe you, when you're a teenager, you're like, Wah! But like when you're older, you're like, no, I don't want to say that or outgrow people that mean something to you. And Sam, I mean, to have these huge soaring melodies that seem like they're so confident, but then you're saying my ex is getting married today, and one day I'll be fine, but I'm going to be fully honest. I am not there. I am totally not there. And that, I guess it's vulnerability, but it's also just like telling it straight. And what I was saying about country music, like as a genre, like it was invented, like the genre was invented. Country music exists. It is boundaryless, and it means something, and is real, and it hits people hard because you're saying something that people need to hear. The genre of like the business of how to sell things is a whole other thing, you know? So I hope people listen to the song first. Don't even worry about who wrote it. If it means something to you, then you can have a new opinion about those people. But I think the song should speak for itself first anyways.
I agree 100%. I mean, I got all sorts of genres on my playlist, and I just send people good songs. If I think it's a great song and they would relate to it, I'm like, here's a song. Right? Who cares what genre it is? It's music, right?
No. Because also I feel like there is a lot of stuff that people are trying hard to copy or emulate a sound or whatever. And you can kind of hear it as a listener. You're like, I don't know. So then when you find something that really hits you, like luckily Burning House did this the first time around. Like people remember where they were when they first heard it. And you're like, hey, you got to hear this. This is great. Like at Billie Eilish, when I first heard Billie Eilish, I was like, what is this? You know? And it's so moving that, then you have to share it. Like Ingrid Andress, that song, like More Hearts Than Mine, like, get out of here. So,
so let's talk about Lucy and how it has been for you to balance everything, try to balance everything, you know, because not only are you a brand new mom, but you release this album and there's a pandemic going on and you're trying to do work meetings, interviews, shooting videos, you know, all of that stuff. How has it been balancing all of that for you? I mean, I can't even imagine.
You know, ecstatic moments when she's like laughing or doing something adorable, and then full breakdowns of like, I can't do this. I don't know how I can manage this. And like every new parent, you know, and just thinking, how is everybody having a job and having kids? How is it possible? And like, luckily I have a group of people around me that are helping. So she gets to go from loving arms to loving arms. And that means a lot to me. I still, you know, have that thing where you're like, but I should be with her all the time. And then when you're with her all the time, it's kind of like when you're trying to get them to go to sleep, you're like, go to sleep. This is so much. And then when they finally go to sleep, you're like, I miss you.
Right.
Like, come back to me. So it's that push and pull that it's such a huge shift for me. I'm still like finding my footing, which I mean, probably you can attest to. Maybe totally. There is no full sure footing that happens. I don't know.
No, okay. Definitely not. Definitely not. It's a wild ride, but as you've said, I mean, it's totally worth it. Every single moment of it is absolutely wonderfully worth it. Every step. As someone who, you know, is a songwriter, you obviously love music as a whole. When she gets to an age where she can truly, you know, appreciate a song for its words and its writing and everything involved, other than like Baby Shark, what song, what would be the first one that you want to make sure that she truly hears?
Ooh, I play her a lot of stuff now, thinking I hope that she truly hears it. But I see what you're saying. I guess if she's really old enough, I'll probably start getting her into Indigo Girls for sure, because that was like such a big thing for me, and like Joni Mitchell. But this one song that I thought was so amazing, Randy Newman sings it, and it's called Losing You. And his brother is or was a doctor. And this couple came in and their college-age son was diagnosed with a terminal illness. And they said to the doctor, like privately, we don't know how we're going to get over this. We lost older relatives like back when we were younger in the Holocaust, and we had time to heal, but we're older now. We don't have time to heal from this. And he turned it into, Randy Newman made it a love song, but it was like, when you're young and there's time, you forget the past. You don't think that you will, but you do. Now I know there ain't time enough, and I'll never get over losing you. And wow. Every time I hear that song, I just think it's such a beautiful mix of time and love. And there's lots of songs, but that's the one that came to mind.
It's great. I love it. You recently did an Instagram post where you talked about reintroducing yourself to your fans. One of the things you said was you wanted to be a Supreme Court justice. Then you went to the psychology thing and then eventually settled on music. And you said, quote, all of those paths are ways that I've tried to find the truth. And so I guess my question with that is, how did you land on music specifically and that being the way to, you know, find your truth and share it with the world, really.
Yeah. My dad always sang around the house growing up. So I think there is that physical connection to it. Like I've always felt like when I was singing, because I sang in children's choirs, I sang like in a cappella groups and, you know, played guitar sort of like quietly to myself before it was a real thing. And I've always felt like whole. That sounds so cheesy. I feel like I'm on the right vibration. I don't know what it is, but singing physically feels like I'm in the right place. So I think in that quest, like I was always feeling unsettled when I was doing other career paths. Like, oh, it's work, but it's a lot of work.
Right.
Like I don't really enjoy this work in a meaningful way. And that was like a big part of it. I needed to find something meaningful. And I could always find things wrong with it. And then when I got into music, I mean, there's plenty of things you can find wrong with the music business and all this stuff. But for some reason, it just feels like when I'm on stage singing and just being myself, I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I don't have a better answer than that, but
it's a great answer. It's a great answer.
My tummy told me.
I want to do some quick fun things. Would you rather, mom edition? Are you ready for this?
Okay, yeah.
Would you rather step on a Lego or get spit up on?
Ooh, spit up.
I don't know. Those Legos are brutal. Sleep in or take a nap?
I'm mostly a napper. I mean, I wish I could sleep in, but I feel like my body wouldn't even do it at this point. So right. I'm going with nap.
Give up the wine or give up the coffee?
I will never give up coffee. I drank it while I was pregnant. Like, I looked that up. I knew exactly how much I could drink for it to be healthy because I was like, I won't function.
My wife did the same thing. Shower in peace or shop in peace?
Shower in peace. I hate shopping. It's too overwhelming.
All right. Let's do some quick fire questions. If you could swap wardrobe with any celebrity, who would it be and why?
Ooh. I feel like I always love seeing the photos. I don't know if it's what I could pull off, but Florence and the Machine, she's always in these dresses and she's like flowy and running around like a sprite. And if I could pull that off, I think I would do that.
That's a great answer. If you could only be on one of the social media platforms, which one would you pick and why?
Instagram, because Twitter, I feel like I even get mean on Twitter. Everybody's mean on Twitter. Instagram at least is like, yeah, it's got a little bit more going on. And Facebook, I feel like we can't go back there. TikTok, I want to get into it, but I feel like I just am too old. You know what I mean? I'm too old. Like I'm being honest with you. Like I can't do it.
The radio, you know, like my bosses and whatnot are like, you know, you got to do this TikTok thing. And I tried and I watched it and I was like, that's just embarrassing. I can't do that. Name the last song that you listened to that's not one of your own.
I just listened to, I probably like Brent Cobb. Keep them on the toes. He just came out with that one. That's really good.
First ever celebrity crush.
David Boreanaz from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And he was at the awards. It was ACMs, I want to say. Oh my God. And I knew he was going to be there because he was presenting. I was presenting. This was my moment of truth. And I met him. And you know, like, it doesn't matter what people look like anymore. He looked like just everything I ever wanted. And I think my husband was like, this is where he was a little awkward. He's like, wait, how do I feel about this? And I was like, this is my moment. You film it. And in the video, I'm shaking his hand for like 5 minutes. I was full blown creepy person. And I was like, no, I blew it. But I was just like, no, really, you don't understand. Well, I'm such a fan. And I was like, yeah, I feel for people who can't play it cool because that was me.